Also in Matthew 25, quite a difficult one. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Jesus, coming out of the Jewish tradition, as a Jew himself, would have lived within this Jewish understanding that the foreigner, the stranger, was someone in your midst who you cared for. Immigration is a big issue in this election, with people saying, how many numbers, where they come from, we're a crowded island. What exactly is your policy on immigration?
Immigration, first and foremost, at the moment we have an unequal policy where we exclude our Commonwealth countries and countries outside the EU, but we allow anybody within the EU to come here, no questions asked whatsoever. So it's an unfair policy. Even though some say our policy to introduce an Australian style point system where you come based on the skills that's needed and required at the time, which is operated in many countries around the world, is seen to be the most fairest option to all. So it doesn't exclude one part of the world from another. It doesn't say whether you're black, white, male, female, whatever religion. It's got to be a fair policy, and that's what people are asking for.
If you tie that in with cutting the aid budget so people are getting poorer, are we not going to get more immigrants?
At the moment, there seems to be a big attraction towards Europe on a whole, and mainly the UK, and our open borders means that they are being exploited by the traffickers that are now forcing people to raid their life savings, sell their homes, whatever, just to get on this boat and get to the EU in the hope that this is the promised land and it's greener than where they are. What we need to be doing is making sure that we work, instead of bombing these places, we need to be working with them and seeing what aid is needed and what programs we can put in place. But all too often what we're seeing in the last 20 odd years is that we've got to send a warplane over and tanks and try and rid them of this bad regime, which really all it needed was some more pressure from us politically and show them that that's not the way to do things, instead of trying to go about policing the world and regime changing, because it's not happening. It's not worked, has it? We're now seeing the displacement of millions and millions of people for the wrong reasons, and for some reason this is the green promised land, and we're allowing traffickers to abuse the open policy system, knowing that once they arrive here that they won't be deported. So it's, even I would, I ask anybody who was in their position who wouldn't do the same. I know I would, and I think we have to put in, it's not just about putting in place proper controls. We've then got to make sure that we deal with the issues of abuses that are happening in the other parts of the world that want to make people leave. Now, immigration is one thing, asylum is a different thing. Now, we've said we will still stick to the UN agreement of taking asylum seekers. That will not change, because we have a duty. We're duty bound to make sure that there is a safe haven for those that are persecuted and fleeing their countries for whatever reason. So I think what we offer is a more sensible, controlled policy that people really want to see put in place.